We found that we can be really successful in driving the consumers' behaviors and helping our partners grow their businesses by transforming the TVs in hundreds or thousands of locations at Hooters, Buffalo Wild Wings, Crunch Fitness, ATI Physical Therapy, etc.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow? We're going to talk about your evolution as a leader today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about your ego. Now, before you tune out and really try to go find something that you feel like might better serve you, your ego is, the way you think about yourself, the way you see yourself in this world, and there's a lot of elements to ego. But if it gets in the way of you leading and servicing your people, then you really aren't leading to the highest capacity at your optimal level. So today we're going to talk about it. We have a special guest on the show. We have Adam Hirsen. He's the co-founder of UpShow. We're going to talk about what UpShow is, but specifically we talk about ego and the evolution of leadership. One of the things I really liked about this is Adam is just really real about it takes different models or stages of leadership to be able to serve this. It's hard in certain times, and his job is to make sure people are inspired to come together. He talks about some of the things that they're doing specifically as a team, but also what he's doing individually as a leader and how he's evolved over time. So stay tuned for this interview with Adam. Thanks for tuning in here to Grow Think Tank. Really excited about sharing this with you. And before you run, I have done so many interviews in the last few weeks. I have such an exciting time to share with you that those interviews have been organized into the 12 core principles of fast growth companies. So all you have to do to get that is go to genehammett.com/worksheet. So you can get the 12 principles, and I've been able to go in there and find which episodes will align to each individual episode. When you subscribe to Grow Think Tank, you will find exactly what you need so that you can move forward. And many of them haven't been published yet, depending on when you're hearing this, but you can tune in to the date that means the most to you. Now here is Adam. Hi, Adam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. We're going to be talking about a very interesting subject today, but I would love for you to tell our audience about UpShow. What is that business?
Well, thank you, Gene, for having me. We founded UpShow in 2015. We found that the best time to leverage a consumer's mind share is while they're inside the four walls of the hospitality and fitness and health venues that they visit every day. And that's when we can really engage the customer in the behaviors that drive loyalty and grow lifetime value. And thus, we've built a platform that transforms existing TV screens inside those venues and harmonizes a program of both modern entertainment and the top marketing objectives of the brand. We found that we can be really successful in driving the consumers' behaviors and helping our partners grow their businesses by transforming the TVs in hundreds or thousands of locations at Hooters, Buffalo Wild Wings, Crunch Fitness, ATI Physical Therapy, etc.
Well, I think it's an interesting model because you probably have competition, but I go into these things so rarely. I don't see much impact. You're growing pretty fast though.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the status quo is still paper marketing, whether you go for beer and wings or you go at your doctor's office or physical therapist, you're going to see paper marketing and pamphlets and posters and table tents, and that's static and expensive and ignored. Or you're going to see broadcast television, which is interesting. There's nothing wrong with Judge Judy. She's great. But just not helping people grow their business, right? Purely entertainment value. So that's the status quo, and that's what we're trying to change.
We talked last week a little bit about what some of the things that you've been working on as a leader to ensure that you stay evolving, you're ahead of the curve as the company continues to grow, because I would imagine you're still planning to grow faster. There's still a huge market there for you to penetrate. one of the things you mentioned was about ego. So tell us a little bit about what you define as ego.
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of a contrarian evolution, right? Because it sometimes becomes more about what you stop doing as a leader, as you grow. And we're certainly excited about the market opportunity. We have venture investors, and God bless them. They're awesome, and we see a huge market opportunity. So we're in growth mode. And I think when it comes to ego, it's pretty simple. I find that we do our best work, and frankly, I do my best work when ego is absent. And I don't know why that is. I mean, for starters, there's ego-driven outcomes where I force things through, or take a brute force approach, or ego and emotion is involved. But I just don't feel as great about those outcomes as when I can empower certain members of our team to get things done, who are growing, who are maturing, who are taking feedback. It just feels better. And so nothing feels better than a hard-fought team effort where ego is absent, our investors are involved, advisors are helping, team members are growing, and it feels good. Those are the best types of outcomes.
Now, I know you've been working on this idea of suppressing the ego, but I want to take the flip side of it. Ego is part of what gave you the confidence and courage to create this new business, to break out on your own and to start hiring people and raising money and all that stuff. So, there's a good side to ego as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I like to carry the confidence within. I like to sort of sum up the toolkit that have been my professional experiences to date and have the confidence that, I'm really good at this, or I've seen this movie before, or, I just have founder's intuition here. And I use those tools all the time. I'm just, sometimes I like to hold that within and have that confidence and not look for external validation. And that's been helpful to me. And then to know what I don't know, which is to recognize when we end up in uncharted waters or unprecedented situations. And then I'll bring anyone and everyone around me in to help me solve that situation. So it's, I sort of have to decide when to flex the confidence internally and go with intuition, or when to just bring the smartest people in the room and our biggest supporters around to help solve problems.
I know it's hard for people to really understand how it plays inside of our own leadership, but many people have refused to bring on people that are smarter than them, and even certain experts. They wouldn't say it probably per se, but they've been acting like, well, we want an army of people out here that are doers, not necessarily thinkers, and that really get in the way. You have taken the other approach to that, because you use this word empower. You want people to actually think for themselves. Tell us a little bit about why that's important.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky. We talked a little bit about my beginnings at PricewaterhouseCoopers, which was a great start to my career, and then I found my way into a mid-market private equity firm here in Chicago called Sterling Partners. And it was, again, incredible learning ground for me, because I saw pretty early on that people mean everything to a business. Really just the lifeblood of the business. They mean everything, and there's no substitute. Great idea, great market opportunity, no substitute for having the right folks impassioned and supporting a cause. And so maybe I'm just lucky because I was a student to that early on, but it's my feeling that you want to hire the best people to have around you to drive great outcomes. I want people around me that are better than me in all the functional areas of the business. And I'm just a big fan of figuring out and being open about best use. Not my best use to be trying to do a 20, 50, or 100 different things. I should focus on 3 or 4 major things over a period of a few years that I know I can get done for my company, and just find the best people in every other area of the business to help me lead. And so sometimes that involves letting go a little bit, but it's just this is the only way our company is going to grow. Is we need those people around the table that are aligned and who can help me to lead.
Adam just talked about people being everything to the business. Now, you may believe that, but are you really living it? I have interviewed over 500 founders and CEOs of fast growing companies, and they know the importance of their people. They don't see them as interchangeable, that we could just fire one today and find another person. They really want to invest in those people, and they want to create a culture that has a competitive advantage. And when you really believe that people are everything to the business, then that allows you to create the kind of leadership that inspires them to take ownership. That's the core of my work. I just wanted to remind you that because it's a very interesting concept and people actually do disagree with this on a regular basis. I believe that people are everything in the business and that we're here to serve those people as leaders so that they can serve our clients. Putting people first really is a big part of being the leader that you want to be. And back to Adam. Well, you're not alone, because a lot of the people I interview are in the mindset that we want them to feel that sense of empowerment. And in fact, the word that keeps coming up over and over is we want them to feel a sense of ownership. And that's really the key behind a lot of the work I've been doing with my own clients. You know, Adam, we came here to talk about ego. So one of the things you've been working on is suppressing the ego. I don't want to make assumptions. What is suppressing the ego?
You know, don't get overconfident, right? You know, I have a couple close advisors, and we're often like recounting a couple key lessons that have served us. And we talk about this one, which is always assume you're in breakdown. You know, always assume something's wrong. You've got it wrong. Things are failing. You're the underdog that you need to come out of the corner fighting. And that helps. I mean, that's really what it is. It's being comfortable sort of assuming you're in breakdown. I mean, we're building a company from a cocktail napkin to, you know, what is the leading in-venue customer engagement platform. And I'm comfortable saying that at every level, right, we're trying to get better. We're trying to make the business not only thrive, but survive at the same time. And, you know, so I assume the worst, frankly, and then enjoy the wins when they come.
So suppressing the ego it's a matter of self-awareness, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
Really understanding where you are best and where you should be making decisions, but also being able to be able to clearly say, this is not my area of expertise, that I'm not going to let my ego get in the way. I'm going to let my chief technology officer make the decision and we'll run with it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and to be comfortable that like when the building a business is hard, you know, it's a hard fought climb, and you know, I'm very comfortable with that and embracing the problems as they come. Even though I think I have talents, I think, you know, where I'm really good, but overall, I like to just acknowledge that it's hard and it's okay to make 3 mistakes for every 1 success, and that's how this is going to play out.
What strategies have you been able to adapt that move the needle on this letting go of ego?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Engagement in the team around you is everything. And that means, you know, that means embracing ideas, highlighting the impact that people are making across the business. You know, we do that. We have what's called the Moon Person Award, where we highlight, you know, the best accomplishments across the team every month, and ultimately one esteemed member of the team walks away with the Moon Person Award. We encourage creative thought and thinking outside of the box and walking through walls. And in doing all this, we've actually built a really cool documented set of core values, which I thought was a little fluffy at the beginning, but when we engaged in the exercise and we've lived with them now for 18 months, I mean, the core values really help align the team and the culture. And it's all about engagement. If our team feels empowered, they see that they can make an impact, and then they get to see the fruits of their labor in terms of great customer outcomes and wins for the company growth and team, then, you know, that's empowerment, right?
Was there a part of you that like just really focused on the strategy and like getting the MVP out there and didn't really pay attention to the values in those early days?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard because when your company is immature, there's so many parallel paths that you have to that you have to mind, which is you got a product. You know, if it's a technical product, it's got to work. Everything is sales. You got to get someone to buy it. then you got to live in service to that customer so that they stay with you for years to come and you form a true partnership. But then you have people, and you reach this inflection point quickly where it needs to be people carrying on that mission versus the blocking and tackling. And I think the best leaders like make that pivot really quickly, right? Like they have product market fit, they have sales, it's time for growth. And when it's time for growth, what I have learned and what I'm practicing to get better is to focus on team and culture and talent. And, it's my job to set the vision and frankly, to keep the business funded and surviving and thriving. So it's an evolution.
Well, I see that too with a lot of leaders is, there's so many things to focus in the early days, but as soon as you get a chance, when you start adding people, and it starts really sooner than you think, like the first 3, 4, 5 key hires, that starts your culture right there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
The core values seem like they're touchy-feely, like, oh, that's a fun thing to have, like, oh yeah, but what you found now, looking back, your core values probably determine who you hire, how you onboard them, how you lead, how you development. Is there anything specific within the core values that you feel like you've adopted that create rituals that allow you to kind of bind together as a team?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about living in service to the customer and doing whatever it takes, walk through walls for the customer. And thus, every month, we're able to highlight these incredible examples where various team members were creative. They built stronger bonds with the customer. They stepped out of the box and did amazing things that just had great results. And so to be able to celebrate that creativity and that poise from various members of the team has been great.
Well, when you think about moving forward and how you're going to continue to evolve as a leader, what are the things you're focused on?
Yeah, like I said, it's all people. I need to really have the best people around me. So talent is huge, an incessant focus on getting the best talent. It's also hard too, because with that, you have people that are very loyal to the business and, who have been with you for a long time, and you gotta kind of figure out how to, either repurpose that talent and continue the growth trajectory or, potentially move on. And so, that makes my job really difficult at times, but it's part of the necessary growth.
Hold on for a second. Adam just said it's all about the people. Now, I know that this is just like I just talked about a few minutes ago, but I want to take a different perspective here. If it's all about the people, your job is to lead and develop those people. As a leader, if you're not giving them the confidence and courage to be able to do their job at a higher level, to be able to have their own opinions, to empower them to make those decisions, and to be able to let them fail and pick the pieces up, then you really are doing a disservice to the entire organization. Because if you have a breakdown in any of those elements of leading and developing your people, then you really aren't creating the kind of organization where people are growing. They are waiting for you to save them. They're waiting for you to make a decision. They're waiting for you to pick up the pieces. And that just slows the organization down. You want an organization where people have that confidence and courage. And your job as a leader is to instill it in them. Now back to the interview. It's a hard fact that we have to realize that some people are great at certain stages of the company, but we have to let go of them if they're not ready for the next stage. I actually just got interviewed by another podcast, and I came in as kind of a special guest. And I was kind of blindsided by this. Adam is the CEO of this large company, had been let go. They've helped them through this one big phase of growth. And my job was to answer the question, why does that happen? And very simply is, if you as an employee and he was the CEO, failed to evolve, you're probably not going to be asked to continue the journey. And this happens at all levels of the company. So what you're describing is a very common thing that happens. And I think what what we have to do as leaders is really tune into how quickly am I evolving? And you have to evolve faster than the pace of the organization and the culture and the team so that you stay up on it. Is there anything specifically you've learned to help you kind of tune into your own evolution?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly I take 360-degree feedback from the people around me and the team, and, what's going well and where they need more help from me, or what I can do to be a better leader in terms of communication and focus. At the same time, I try to think 3 steps ahead in every division of the company. I mean, I'm always trying to think 3 steps ahead in product, 3 steps ahead in sales and marketing and where we need to be. And it's usually, I'm usually at that point theorizing about controversial changes, right? People that need to go, people that we need to recruit, certain areas of focus and strategy. And, I feel like I always have a handful of, controversial crystal ball type moments. And I'm always thinking through those and what to prioritize and how it's going to help me evolve quickly so I can build value for our investors.
Well, I think what you're describing there is you truly have moved into what I would call the visionary role, where you are focused most of your time on how are we going to evolve that 3 steps ahead. So Adam, I really appreciate you being a guest here on the podcast. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and being a part of it.
Thanks for having me, Gene.
I love having conversations with leaders that understand that they must continue to evolve. This is the core of my work, because as a leader, you must be able to work on yourself. You must be able to take that feedback, as in the 360-degree feedback that Adam was just talking about. You must be able to let go of certain things so that you can stay 3 steps ahead in all of the areas that are important for the business, because your job is to make sure that people know where they're going and empower them along that journey. Now, hopefully you are getting a lot out of these interviews. I love creating them for you. If you have any challenges about your own leadership and about how to continue to grow, make sure you reach out to me. I'd love to get to know you. Gene@genehammett.com is my email. But what I really want to do is serve you as a leader, empower you to evolve and go beyond where you are today to play at your most optimal level. That's what I love to do, and that's what we do as a company. If there's any way I can help you, make sure you reach out to Gene@genehammett.com. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.